Ride or die.
I go hard in the paint, yeah, homie, I'm a saint.
Ride or die.
There he is. He's on stage. You want to ask your question to him?
Oh, sure. Mr. Kalua Kaliolala, how are you? Um,
I'm
so,
fine. How are you?
oh, I'm good. I'm good. So, I was wondering, what are your thoughts on, do you think, let me phrase it like this, do you think that Allah and Muhammad addressed the Trinity in the Quran?
In certain aspects, yes. At certain points.
Okay. So, what I would basically say to you is, everyone would admit that Jews and Christians have always worshiped one God. Always. The Trinity, no matter how you like to slice it, is one God, one triune God. So if the Quran does not address it, and if you think it does, we can talk about it. But if it's not clear and it does not address it, then why all the vitriol against the Trinity?
So I specifically wouldn't have any vitriol towards the Trinity. I just think that there's logical problems with it. To address you're saying that they've always believed in one God. If you read Tertullian in year about 180, he actually argues for a triad conception, which would be tritheism. He admits that it's tritheism.
No,
The
he doesn't.
earliest writings of the triune conception of God are around 300 with some of the first ecumenical councils.
So maybe you're not aware, but no, Tertullian does not argue for tritheism. Tertullian, what you're probably thinking of is when he was addressing. So no, he definitely does not argue for tritheism. If you would like to bring up a citation, you can. But yeah, that's kind of laughable that you would say that.
Oh no, I mean then you would have to explain to me what he means when he speaks of a triad
Yeah,
view of the nature of God.
there's nothing wrong with saying a triad. Just like there's nothing wrong with saying that the Father is the one true God. Well, what does that mean? It means you keep talking and say that he has an eternally begotten Son and a Spirit who proceeds from him eternally. You simply keep talking. There's nothing wrong with using the word triad. Nothing. It depends on what you mean.
Well,
So,
I'm going to be coming out here soon with I'm actually getting flown out to Seattle by an organization to do multiple videos on the Trinity, the Incarnation, the Atonement, and arguments against atheism. So I'll have a lot of resources that I'll have in my presentations to where you can read on the Church Fathers and read on some earlier writings to where they clearly admit to three separate beings, and then we can address that afterwards.
yeah, we can.
Yeah, we
And I know
can.
what you're talking about in Tertullian, and I know exactly what you're talking about. And Tertullian believes in one God. One. So you're going to have to work that into your presentation as well.
Yeah,
Tertullian.
I'll just use quotes.
Yeah, you can use quotes, but I hope you won't quote mine.
No, you're not Tertullian, so I wouldn't be quoting you.
No, sweetie. Quote mining. Quote mining means
Please
like
don't call me
cherry
sweetie.
picking. It means cherry picking. That's what that means. To
Yeah,
quote mine something.
yeah. I'm not
Yeah.
going to cherry pick.
I didn't mean that you would quote me. But anyways, could you address, since you've been a Muslim for a while now, you've read the Quran, I assume. So where do you think that Allah addresses the Trinity?
When he says say one, not three, it's better for you.
So you think that is what defeats the Trinity or addresses the Trinity? Say
Um,
one, not three?
it doesn't
When
defeat the Trinity. I have my own arguments that defeat the Trinity. He just says say one, not three.
Okay. So when
It's
you
that's
when
easy.
you when you address the Trinity, do you address the monarchy of the Father? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, the monarchical Trinitarianism. Yeah, there's also social Trinitarianism, relative identity Trinitarianism, Latin
Yeah,
Trinitarianism.
that's not what I asked you though. I asked you, do you address the monarchy of the Father, and have you figured out that you've only been addressing social Trinitarianism and you
No, I
haven't
haven't.
actually? Yeah, you actually have. Your
Okay.
argument, no, your arguments do not defeat the monarchy of the Father at all. They don't even address it.
Okay, go ahead and steel man my argument.
No, you go ahead and tell me your
No,
argument.
you're telling me that my arguments are only addressing certain things. So go ahead and steel man my argument, so I know you know what I'm actually arguing.
Okay. So do you argue that there's the Father is God, the Son is God, the Spirit is God, and then there's this fourth, there has to be a fourth, like the being or the essence of God? Because I've heard you go through this with a Christian, and he answered yes to each one. And you were like, well, now you have a problem. And you were actually right. You were actually correct because you were not addressing the monarchy of the Father there.
Yeah, so it was depending on their specific model. So why are you
So
generalizing one
that's
person that
why
you
I
talk to?
asked you, that's why
Very
I
interruptive.
asked you, do you address the monarchy of the Father? And you said you did. So I'm curious to know what you think about the monarchy of the Father.
Well, I think it all depends. There's multiple different subclasses on monarchical Trinitarianism. So if you just give me what your rendition of it is, I can show you where the problems are.
Okay. So in a nutshell, it would be you could start off by saying clearly that the Father is the one true God. The Father is the one who is the source. The Son and the Spirit are those who proceed and are begotten eternally from the Father. Water, like the Father is the fountainhead. So we're perfectly comfortable with using the phrase, the Father is the one true God. Yes. But then you simply keep talking. He has an eternal Son. He has an eternal Spirit. So what is the problem with that?
So just to correct you real quick, there's not just one view of the monarchical Trinitarianism. Some believe that the Father is the unbegotten, while the Son is eternally begotten or
Everyone
caused.
believes that. That everyone believes that.
So every time I've spoken, you've
Okay,
interrupted me. If
sorry.
I could have time to
Okay, sorry.
speak, thank you. So within monarchical Trinitarianism, you have some beliefs that state that the Father is uncaused, while the Son is eternally begotten or eternally caused by the Father, and the Holy Spirit spirates from the Father through the Son. There are some believe that the Holy Spirit does not spirate through the Son, but only from the Father. So
No.
there's multiple different views. Yeah, I mean, I could give
Yeah, I
you actual.
understand. I understand totally, and that's fine. So what I would say, my personal view, is that the Spirit proceeds from the Father. That's what I would say. But what you would have to say is that you have some sort of problem with either one of those. And you would have to break down why that's a logical problem, which I guess you could do if you were going to say that the Spirit proceeded from the Son. Yeah, I could see why. But don't address that one. Address the one I'm talking about.
So it
Which
didn't.
is
I
what
never.
I said, which is what I said when I spoke to you, which is what I just said, which is that the Spirit eternally proceeds from the Father, or spirates. You could say spirates. That's fine too. And the Son is eternally begotten from the Father. The Father is the source. The Father is unbegotten. So tell me what's the problem with that?
So you misquoted me earlier when you said that I said that some believe that the Holy Spirit spirates from the Son. I never said that. It spirates from the Father through the Son.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. If you want to attack that view, that's fine. That's not what I'm talking about. That
Sure.
is
Okay.
not what I am talking
So
about.
you believe
I'm
that the Son
asking
is
you
eternally
specifically.
caused. The Son is eternally caused by the Father. Correct.
Yes.
Does the Son hold aseity?
No, the Father is I'll say.
Okay. So the Son. So that means that the Son and the Holy Spirit, who is God,
Yes.
is not ase. So that we
Right.
have a problem with the aseity of the entire essence of the Godhead, because
How?
there's only one person of the Godhead that actually holds aseity. And that the Son is the one who actually is the creator of everything. Everything comes
No.
from the Son in
The
John
Son and the
1.
Father. No, you're wrong. And the Spirit as well. So you're incorrect.
Everything was made through him. Who's him? The Word. Who's the Word?
Exactly.
Jesus.
But you said
Thank you.
just the Son. It's not just from the Son. It's from the Father as well. And the Spirit creates as well.
Yeah. God
Yeah.
needs to ask himself for permission to be able to create.
Where is that at?
The Son cannot do anything without the permission of the Father.
They are in perfect will and perfect harmony at all times. Yeah. What's the
That
problem
didn't
with that?
address that didn't address my problem.
That was on earth, what you're quoting right now. That was on earth when he took the form as a servant. So nice try. But I'm asking you to specifically deal with the monarchy of the Father, which is what you articulated, but then you just started rambling about stuff that's unrelated. You
I
show
didn't
me the
ramble, and if you think
issue.
it's unrelated, you're just uneducated.
I'm asking you to show me the issue with the Father being the one God, the eternally begotten Son, and the eternal Spirit who proceeds from the Father eternally. What is the logical
So,
problem?
so I'll say it again. I've already brought up the problem, and the problem is that if you're going to say that the Son is not Ase is a great making property. If you want to say that the Aseity is not a great making property, then I really don't know what's interesting
I
about your
don't have
argument.
to talk about I don't care about if you think my argument is interesting or not. What I asked you was, what I've noticed is that you haven't dealt with this argument. So I am simply curious to see what your objections are to it. You deal with social Trinitarianism. Yes, there are issues. There can be issues brought up with that. I am asking you specifically about this argument. And you're talking to me about defining a great making quality. Why? The Son is of the same essence as the Father. The Spirit is of the same essence as the Father. What is the problem?
Is the essence Ase?
The Father is, I'll say, the Son eternally is begotten of the Father. What is the
What
problem?
is
That
The
didn't answer the
Father,
question.
Yeah, she said she's not interested in the question. So I've brought my objection. You don't want to answer my objection. You say you don't think that it's important. So I mean, I don't know what
what are
else we
you
have to
talking
talk
about?
about. I specifically brought up my objection, and you said I don't care about that. That's irrelevant.
No, no, no.
Oh, good. The
What did I
replays
say I
are.
don't care about? What did I say I don't care
We'll
about?
see if they stay on.
What?
I said we'll see if the replays stay on.
What
Yeah,
did I
because I'd
say I
be
don't
interested to
care
see if
about?
this gaslighting comes to light. And
Yeah,
furthermore, I
it's
just came
I
on
am
stage to ask
asking
that
you,
this
what did I say
woman
I
not
don't care
refer
about?
to my husband as sweetie because it's
Chloe,
entirely
pipe down. I'm
disrespectful.
not interested. I'm not interested.
just like she's not interested in my objection.
What I am
Yeah.
saying to you is that to
Well,
say that it is a great making quality and to say that the son
Property.
doesn't have the same, that's fine, the same great making property as the father, how when they're the same essence? How?
Yeah, that's a good question. How does the Son have the same essence as the Father, but the Father's all saying the Son is not? That seems problematic.
Fire, the father is the fountainhead. That is a way to think about it. How is it problematic? How? The
Well,
Father is the one God. How? What's the problem?
because aseity is a great making property for one to be able to be omnipotent and be able to create all things. Things are going through the Son. The Son would necessarily need to have aseity to be able to do that. If you're saying that
Why?
the Son doesn't need to be ase, well, that's just definitionally
Why
works.
do you keep saying this? He is
Because
of
that's
what the Father
definitionally
is.
it's definitionally what it is. If you don't know the definitions, that's not really my problem.
I think you're just making stuff up and just saying it now.
Yeah, that's normally what people uneducated on the topic would say.
No. You're
Yeah.
repeating Dale, dude, you're repeating Dale Tuggy's arguments. That's what you're doing. Yes, you are.
I mean that's fine. You can say I'm repeating whoever's arguments you think I am, but the arguments hold, and you still haven't actually addressed my objection.
Dude, you said, how does the Son have the same great making quality as the Father? Is that what you said?
No, that is not what I said. See, you're not
What is
following
the,
me along here. I'll slow it down and
what are
break
you
it.
saying? Yeah, slow it down. Slow it down.
Yeah, I'll break it down Barney style for you.
Yeah, break it down.
So the Father is uncaused, which means that he holds aseity, which is necessity.
Mm-hmm.
That means that the Father can exist regardless of whether he causes the Son or not. He holds aseity. The Son is dependent upon the Father for his own existence via him being eternally begotten or eternally caused by the Father,
Yeah.
which means the Son would not hold aseity if in John 1 it states that all things are made through the Son, from the Father
Dude,
through the Son.
time out, time out, time out. So
Yep.
wait, your argument, are you arguing? I just want to make sure. So you're arguing that John 1 shows now? What is the problem?
You,
Slow it
you,
down.
you broke up. Can you repeat that again?
You're saying John 1 is what? What is the
You
problem with John 1?
you keep breaking up. I can't hear what you're saying. You might have a bad connection.
What is the problem with John 1? Because now you're saying the argument.
I
You're
didn't say there was
articulating.
a problem with John 1.
Then why did you go to it? Why do you keep
Because I'm
saying what is the
explaining John 1 is the biblical reference for how the everything that is created is through the Son. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then the Son would have to be aseity to be able to do that definitionally.
Why?
It's
Why?
the definition
Why?
of aseity, self-sufficiency. The Son can cause,
Why does the
right?
son have to have no? No. Why?
Okay. So
What?
then,
Just
No,
wait,
what
you're
makes
saying
Christ
because
God?
so
you're
then
saying
the Son is
hold
just a
on. No,
little,
no, no.
a little.
You're saying your objection. This is your objection right now. Your objection is because the Father creates through the Son. This creates a problem because that somehow means that the Son must be ase, must have aseity. That's what you're saying?
That is correct.
Why?
Because
He's of the
definitionally
same
that's what
essence of
aseity is. Yeah, but see now you're no longer in monarchical Trinitarianism. You're now appealing to relative identity Trinitarianism. So welcome to relative identity.
no, I'm not. It's the fact that Trinitarianism overlaps in many different ways.
So you say
I'm
you're
not
not.
appealing to anything.
So you're saying you don't.
This goes right along with the monarchy of the Father. It goes right along with what I'm saying.
Okay,
You
okay,
have a problem understanding what I don't know.
yeah, sure. So
But
if you're
but thi-
saying that
but
you do not
this
hold on real quick. If you say that you do not hold to relative identity Trinitarianism, can you explain to me what that is?
no, I cannot. Not off the top of my
Exactly.
head, no.
And she
But I
doesn't
can
I,
need
go,
uh,
to
but
because
listen,
the
on my
Trinitarian
dresser,
doctrine
listen,
is a
listen,
theological
Khalil.
This isn't
doctrine.
going
Hold on.
very well for
Yeah.
me right now.
Khalil, listen. On
Put
my
the replay
dresser,
mode
there's a
on.
stack of papers written by Dale Huggy, which is the same argument that you articulate. If I wanted to flip through it, I could find that definition for you. But it doesn't really matter because the Son creates through the Father in any model of Trinitarianism that you can pull from. So I don't understand why you keep going to this.
I know you don't understand, and that's the problem. You
I,
might need to study a bit
I
more.
just want to
Keeps
follow
going
Cleo.
to it
How are
because
you
he
using
needs to
deity?
use another discipline to try to override theology.
No, see what's happening right now is she's falling into relative identity Trinitarianism, and she says she's
Relative,
not, yet she doesn't even know
relative
what it is.
identity Trinitarianism is philosophy. It's not theology.
So,
Well, I have many high-level Christian philosophers that would laugh at you when you say that.
I don't care.
so
I know there's a whole
There's
bunch of
not
I don't
one
cares
single
going on
there's
here.
not one single prophet that received a revelation who then sifted it through a philosophical grid to present it to us. You do that because theologically the Trinity makes sense. But because it does, I have to use another discipline to try
Yeah,
to act as a check over theology. That's not how it works.
yeah,
Except that
yeah,
God
I know.
isn't a
that's
God
No,
of
your
confusion. So if
theology
the
doesn't.
Trinity made sense, then it would be very, very clear. But the fact that we can even have this
It is
debate
very
tells me
clear.
that it's
It
Only
is
the
very clear.
short bus riders can't get it.
Yeah,
They're
let
just going to
me
interrupt
ask
and
you.
Khalil a
Chloe,
question.
I don't know if you're aware, but your prophet affirmed our scriptures anyways, multiple times throughout the Quran. He told you, Chloe, to search in our scriptures for your prophet. We're supposed to be searching, and you're supposed to search in the Gospel of John, actually, which is
See
kind of
how we're
funny.
shifting the debate because she
I,
couldn't answer
No,
my
Khalil,
objection.
I'm not shifting. You're a Muslim.
You are.
I,
You
uh,
need you.
I asked
Well,
Khalil a
I am.
question just to try to
Islam is a
figure out
shit.
Yeah,
what
we might need somebody else. Snow's not doing a very good job. Go ahead, James.
yeah,
No,
I just
Doing
have.
an
So,
excellent job.
I was confused by your objection because you were using aseity as an objection, but Snow would be right that creation would be through Jesus Christ and majority of the Trinitarian models. What was your aseity objection in that?
So to be self-sufficient, that's to be ase. To hold aseity, you would be able to create things from the Father through the Son, and if all things are from the Son and the entire Godhead is ase, you would have to say that all three
I
persons are
didn't
ase.
say
But
the
now,
entire Godhead
there's
was all say. I
another
didn't say
interruption. You
that.
need to have some self-control, sister.
holy
Why are you
crap.
saying what I didn't say?
She just interrupts
So,
every time.
But you're
she said
saying what
that
I
it
didn't
was.
say.
She said
Sounds
that
like
the
Second
Father.
Timothy 2:12 needs to be enacted for
She said that
Chloe.
the Father.
Yeah, First Peter 3:15 also.
Understanding, just to try to help you guys get back in the on track. So, from my understanding, she said that the Father was creating through Jesus Christ. So, and she said earlier on that she gave the Father a deity. So that would still be in line. There would be no issue because the Father is working through Jesus Christ within this model.
Sure. So Jesus Christ is just a little hand puppet to the Father.
No, that's why we get into terms like eternally begotten. Um, and then that eternal causality with no beginning and no end, which is part of her model. But aseity would not be an objection because she already said that just the Father has aseity, and she's fine
James,
not aseity to the Spirit or to the Son.
yeah, James, could you help Snow out understand what relative identity is?
She did really well
She
with
doesn't
the other
need to know
model.
what it is.
She doesn't know what it is, but yet she's falling into
She
I,
doesn't
I,
need to know what
it.
it is
I don't.
Exactly.
because
She doesn't need to
theological,
know.
Yikes.
her arguments are theological.
I
God
don't
was not
think
a
that.
philosopher. He didn't send philosophers. He sent
Khalil,
prophets.
what you're failing to understand is the fact that you kept repeating that there's an issue because the Father creates through the Son, and then you keep just shouting the word aseity over and over. Like, I'm still trying to figure out what you were trying to prove. I
Like he
said the
learns a new
Father has
word.
aseity, the Father. So, what is the issue with the Father creating
It's
through
like he
the
went to
Son?
dictionary.com and saw the word of the day, I say it.
So
Yeah, so what is the problem?
I just want to. So I don't think that Khalil's relative identity Trinitarian objection was fitting. But let me explain to you just what the concept is. It basically says that the classical law of identity doesn't necessarily apply to God, and so that identity. We're saying that identity is more complex than typical kind of philosophical definitions. But I don't think, Snow, that you were falling into that at all.
Here, watch this. Is God all say?
The Father is ase. Don't try, bro. Don't try.
I'm asking if the Godhead is all say.
No,
Yes
I
or no?
said the
Very
Father
simple.
is ase. The
And
Father, the
that's
Father, the
yeah,
Father, the Father, the Father.
sure.
Now, deal
That
with what
doesn't
I
answer
said.
my question.
Deal
That's
with
not
it. No, the
answering.
Father. The
See, this is what
Father.
happens. This is
Deal
what they do.
with it. Deal with it.
No, I'm
Deal
gonna get
exactly.
an
No,
answer to my
exactly.
question.
Deal
Or
with
I'm not.
it's an
You see,
argument.
Ray,
That's
this
Exactly.
is sad. This is embarrassing.
Khalil, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, that's fine. You're free to believe that. Uneducated people typically say that.
Yeah. You don't even know what your Quran talks about.
Uneducated in what?
That's fine.
Philosophy?
Here we go, shifting the goalposts again because you can't
Khalil,
defend
aren't you a Muslim?
Just believe your Quran, Surah 931.
it. Okay, all
What
right.
the
So we're gonna
heck?
shift to the Quran because we can't defend the Trinity. Got it.
No,
Khalil, you're
you're
still
you're
confused.
bringing
No,
up
I'm not. You
philosophy.
don't even know what the
Yes,
terms are.
you still keep
Think you,
shouting
She
about
doesn't
us
need
saying
to know what it is.
no
yes,
God
one has
taught
yeah,
us
it
that.
shouted
doesn't need
except for
to.
you,
The
Snow.
true prophets of
Yeah,
God never spoke of the
you
identity.
guys aren't very charitable to the people you have on stage.
okay, Khalil. I just want to know why you keep shouting about aseity and then shouting and saying that there's a problem with the Father creating through the Son.
Because
Can you tell me that, please?
you keep failing to understand what the definition of austeity is, and you keep
I
saying
didn't
that.
say that the Son
There's
has
another
aseity.
interruption. There's another
I
interruption.
Do
Snow,
you
I'm
know
done
how to take
engaging with
turns?
you.
Like, did
open.
we learn that in kindergarten,
I know
Snow?
that Shaitan peed in your ears this morning. I know that your prophet said that, but let's clean him out. I
Okay.
didn't say that the Son has aseity. Okay? You need to
Hmm.
do wudu and
I
wash the
forgot
pee
all
out
about
of your
that.
nose and your
I've
ears
never.
so you can listen better.
Snow. 1 Peter 3:15. You might want to go read it.
Holy
Okay,
shit,
you
she is
might want to
so
study your
vile.
Quran and the definition of
I
aseity
don't
and
need
what
to
I'm
study
saying to
my
you.
Quran.
You
Aseity
don't?
is not spoken about in the Quran. I'm using philosophical terms. Isn't that what you guys told me I was
There's a
doing a minute
lot
ago?
not spoken about in the Quran, just
You
like the
guys, I might
Trinity.
need to go get some syrup because you guys
Just
are
like
waffling like crazy.
the Trinity is not spoken about.
This is embarrassing,
Hmm.
and I hope you guys may Allah guide all of you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Can you
that.
show me where the Trinity is in your Quran, Khalil?
Allah
Yeah. I already told you that.
We
Did
already
you all?
answered
Do you have
that.
like short term memory loss or something?
You said say not three, but Muhammad said three constantly. He wiped his butt with three stones. He said three chants all the time, three prayers. He was
Yeah,
obsessed with
it's
three. So what does that
talking
have to
about
do?
the concept of God.
Oh,
Context is
is
king,
he?
sister.
Can you show me that? Can we read it and discuss?
Oh my God.
Can we?
You
Can we
so
go?
you
Can you
want to
get
get
me a
away
verse?
from the Trinity because you
No,
can't
I'm
defend it.
talking
You
about
want
the
to go.
Trinity.
How
Yeah,
did
I'm
we
I'm
get
about
not
on the
talking about
how did
Trinity
we
in the
get on
Quran
the Trinity? How did we get
because
on the Trinity?
she specifically asked me about it. And now that I'm bringing up objections,
I
here's
asked
another
Holy
interruption.
crap! Snow, do you know how to take turns? Like, did you do that in kindergarten?
No,
Watch, you're about to get moved down to the audience for calling her
Holy
out.
shit, bro.
no,
Yeah,
I
because
don't.
she should be embarrassed by the
It's
way that
it's
she's
it's
No,
interacting.
actually, not
She should be
really.
embarrassed by the way that she interrupts. She should be
yeah.
embarrassed. Like,
No,
make
you're
your
not gonna
argument,
get
but
Chloe.
learn
You're
how
not
to
gonna
take
get
turns.
moved to the audience. Snow, you are interrupting a little bit.
Okay, okay, I'm
Let
done. Go ahead.
point.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll state my objection again. If you didn't understand what aseity is, you have to go learn what aseity is.
Who
And you have to learn there's another one.
who did I
I'm
say
done.
has aseity? Who?
I'm done. I'm no longer engaging with you. If anybody else would like to engage with me, that would be fine.
I go hard in the paint, yeah, homie, I'm a saint.